What miracles of science and engineering it took to reconquer.
We're like at a legit beach party right now. We got the beats, we got the umbrellas, we got the ocean.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to All Gold Everything, a podcast for people who are here for the Pelosi fuck you clap. Oh, thank you, Nancy. This might be the greatest invention of 2019.
I'm actually feeling the contempt as I do it. I'm feeling contempt.
And look at her. And she's got some, we have a picture of it. Pat and everyone was posting this to their social media today, but I found it from Patton Oswalt on Instagram. And he posted this picture of her. I mean, she's got a little bit of she got like some hip into it, a little bit of
She's like serving it. She
is serving it.
It's like a pancake. She's like serving.
Yeah. Sliding it. I just feel like now I'm just going to walk around people and going like,
I have to see it in motion. I've only seen this photo, but I want to see it in motion to see like what it looks like.
Seeing it in motion would be great. And I agree, but it is just this, it's like a gift to the world, Nancy Pelosi, with this clap.
It's her lion. Her lion has been released. This is the season.
She's leaning in.
Yeah. It's the year of the pig.
Yeah.
And her lion is being released.
I love it. Mm-hmm. We are coming at you tonight from the lovely, the one, the only, the La Lohan Beach Club in Mykonos. There we are. I feel like we do need a little bit of I know that Mykonos is not in the Hawaiian Islands, but I do kind of want to just do a little hula dancing.
No, what we need for this is like oons, oons, oons,
well, our intro music, our new intro music was ideal for our Mykonos backdrop here. So anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that we are just hanging out at Club La Lohan, just, casually near the ocean in Mykonos, doing it.
If I were not on a soundstage in Milwaukee, I would not have pants on.
No, that's true. We might be dressed a little bit differently if we were really on location, but who's to say? So listen, I wanted to talk to you because last week we did an episode on the Netflix special, The Ted Bundy Tapes, and we got some haters for this. So first of all, yay, that's bomb. We have haters. Oh, I'll just do the Nancy Pelosi clap. I can't quite do it around my microphone is part of my problem. Sandy is serving you face right now. This is amazing. I love it. So first of all, we had a couple haters. We had a couple thumbs down on our video. And one... We did, yeah. Which at first I was I was a little like, ouch, that hurt. But then I was like, whatever, we're not for everyone. We're not for everyone. Not everyone can roll with us.
I mean, when you talk about somebody like Ted Bundy, there's going to be this whole swath of people who just don't want to hear about him.
That's right.
Just don't want to talk about him. And two, the whole, we don't even want to say his name. And three, the whole, if you're not going to just talk about the victims and, then we don't want to hear about it. So there's this whole movement on the internet that's anti Ted Bundy tapes.
I think what you're saying is talking about Ted Bundy comes with some baggage.
Right.
It's not like a straight up and down easy discussion.
Yeah. And what it makes me want to do, even though I don't feel this way, because I think he's a piece of shit garbage person.
Yes, yeah.
But what it makes me want to do is be like, he's so hot.
No, it doesn't. But what you said was what I was going to say, what I have written in my show notes, is I just want to be clear. I mean, Sandy and I think Ted Bundy's a shitbag, right? I mean...
Yeah, well, but we were clear, so I don't think we need to do this.
That's true. Okay. On to the next. If there was a way to combine the Nancy Pelosi clap with some middle fingers, if you could, if the bottom hand could be...
Look at that perspective.
That's amazing. If the bottom hand could be you need to be watching this on YouTube. If the bottom hand could be a middle finger and the top hand could just be sloughing it off, that'd be amazing. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention, I tried to step up my hair game a little bit this week, and I did a little mini bun on top, which actually you have kind of a little mini pony, which is super cute. I love it.
Her name is Raquel.
So I haven't named my mini bun yet, but I do have one. And I went out to meet some girlfriends before I came here, and I mentioned to one of them that I was kind of worried that my mini bun looks like the poop emoji.
Oh, okay.
Because it's kind of twisted up in a little bit of the poop emoji style.
It kind of does now that you pointed it out.
My girlfriend said she wouldn't have thought about that if I hadn't mentioned it, so that's fine. But it's a beautiful segue into the fact that there are new emojis coming in 2019. Here they are. I sent a picture of them to Mark. He's got them up on the screen for those of you that are watching. Now, the internet is melting right now about the fact that the top row of these, in the top row of these new emojis coming is one that looks like two fingers pinching, and that this will now be the response to any unsolicited dick pics.
Oh, I like
that
it.
This means like that you have a small dick when you pinch your fingers like that. I have to say that a lot of them are like pretty mundane, like kind of, they're like, there's a dog, there's a waffle, which I am on board with a waffle. There's a gold heart. I'm here for that. There is a drop of red blood, which in light of there being so many murder and crime podcasts makes a lot of sense. My mother-in-law, hey Jan, she texted this to me and thought that was menstrual blood. So that you could text someone and let them know when you were having that experience.
I always needed an emoji for that. You know how when you're like, I need an emoji for...
It was a real shortcoming in the emoji game prior to that. The other one that I like is the hatchet. There's a couple down from the blood corpuscle is a hatchet and axe. So I just feel like... Yeah, we're going a little dark on some of these emojis, but I'm here for that. And I want to know, like, who decides what the new emojis get? Like, how do I...
The emoji queen.
I know.
Is that a stick of butter next to the waffle?
It looks like a stick of butter and then maybe some coconuts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just feel like there are some emojis that I would still like to see, but who do I write to or... DM or who do I tell? Like, hey, I need an emoji.
Emojipedia at Emojipedia.
Oh my God, duh, it's right there.
Yeah,
that was dumb.
Research. I was gonna say the emoji queen because clearly there is an emoji queen in an emoji castle in emoji land somewhere.
I was gonna say it's not a democracy.
No.
Emojis are a dictatorship.
Because emojis are weird.
Legit.
I want an emoji index. I want to be able to search emojis.
Yes, this is what I wanted to talk. I'm glad you mentioned this.
But I want to know what emojis are you going to request from the emoji queen?
Well, I don't have it off the top of my head, but there was one the other day that I was like, I cannot believe. I don't know. I can't think of what I would need. Partly because of what your problem is, which is like there's so many emojis that now I just like, oh God, I don't want to look for one anymore. I'll just use this one instead.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Yeah, which I love that strategy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that'll work.
So maybe instead of getting on the bandwagon for new emojis, we should get on them with some kind of like emoji lookup.
Right.
Yeah.
Like an emoji index.
Now, I know you can type the word.
But that's only some of them.
Only some of them, I agree. So it's not a foolproof system, as they say.
Yeah. Emojis are just is a very limited language, but it is our new, you guys.
Sorry. This is
our new way of communicating, as limited as it is. So the fact that they are broadening it, I will just take as a gift. I don't know what the drop of blood is going to come to mean, and as our culture evolves, maybe it is. Yeah.
Maybe it's period blood.
Maybe it's period.
Maybe that'll be from us. Maybe that'll be our contribution to emoji linguistics is that we set the bar for the red drop of blood being period blood. You're welcome.
Great. You're welcome.
I have a little bit of dog news to share with you. So I was wondering if Mark could put up all the dog profiles. So we've got Weebay and Henry and Lemon. They have some Instagram accounts.
Those pictures just make me smile.
They're so cute. I was actually looking at them before the show, and I'm like, God, Lemon looks like just a little velvet dog in that picture. She looks so soft and squishy, not like the wood chipper land shark that she currently is. She just like walks around like chomp. She kind of does a version of the Pelosi clap, but she just like chomp, 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 chomp. She just chomps on everything. So this week I got some junk mail and I was looking through it, and one of the things that was in it was this thing, a mailer from this company called Embark, which will allow you to do a dog DNA test.
Oh my gosh, I got that too.
You did?
Yes.
I mean, but you know what kind of dog your dog is.
Yeah, but you do too. He's a Berger Picard.
That's
Burger
so French.
Picard.
So fancy.
Yeah, which is a French shepherd.
He's so cute. We know that Lemon is a yellow lab, but we don't know much about what Henry is. But here is my question. Even though
do you care?
I know. Well, do we care? Even though you know what Weebay is, would you consider getting his dog DNA tested?
No.
I have to say that Jeff and I were a little tempted to find out more about Henry, but we didn't. But I was just thinking, like, as I was considering getting our dog DNA tested, I was thinking, like, could there be a more like yuppie product on the market?
No.
Like, this is clearly
I mean,
not necessary.
It makes perfect sense. Whoever came up with it knows that they are tapping into like a huge market of people who just have like disposable income to just wreak on their pets. And I could talk about this because what I found I've been doing since I have this puppy is just like spending all my money on this puppy.
Oh my God. I told someone.
Like, I have puppy, must spend all money on puppy. It's like this, like they take over your brain. They put a chip in your brain.
They do.
When you get the puppy.
They do.
And it's like,
true.
spend all your money on me.
I'm like, this is the money I'm trying to save to charter a damn yacht after watching Below Deck for 5 seasons.
No,
and you know what? It's going to dog treats.
All on the puppy.
All dog treats. All the time. All the freeze-dried dog treats.
So much more than treats. The toys that my puppy owns.
And ours, I don't know. We had a lot of toys, but they like ended up in a black hole. Like I don't know where they go. Some of them do get.
They're
eaten.
in her belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will not be doing a dog DNA test. The other thing I was thinking is you could do a dog DNA test to like confirm. If you were skeptical about
right, but so here's the thing, because this is something that comes up in medicine. Just because you can do the test, is it still like worth the money and the resources that you're spending? So a lot of times when we talk about doing a certain test in medicine, we're like, well, is it going to change what we do?
That's a smart way to think about things.
So if you find out that Henry's half Berger Picard.
Yeah.
Are you going to do something?
No, definitely.
If you find out he's half pit bull, are you going to do something?
No, probably not. No, that's a very good litmus test. I should use that for lots of areas of my life.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next kind of news story that caught my attention today is that Tyra Banks.
I like Tyra Banks.
I know. Should we smize for the camera just to like?
Oh, I don't know how to smize.
I think you just did it. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a smize. Nailed it. She is opening a theme park in Santa Monica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, could you imagine what Tyra Banks' theme park might be about?
Modeling.
Tyra Banks is opening a theme park in Santa Monica called Modelland, which is like such a creative name for her theme park. So
No, it's not. Not.
Come on, Tyra. Could you name it anything else?
But what is this? What is the attraction?
Okay, so basically what it is that you get to go to the theme park and experience. The details are vague. You get to go to the theme park and experience what it's like to be a model.
So you get to like vomit and never eat?
I don't know. Upon further investigation.
And do cocaine and...
Maybe that's it. Drink some DC and do some blow. I mean, we're halfway there with the DC. And we have wardrobe.
Yeah.
We're getting close. We're basically at Modelland. So upon...
I think that this is Modelland.
Oh, look, we're in Mykonos and we're in Modelland. Yeah. We're there. Thanks, Tyra. Such a pleasure. So upon further inspection, I discovered that I think to call it a theme park would be a stretch. Modelland is actually going to be an anchor retailer in the Santa Monica Mall.
Okay.
It's a store.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, calling it a theme park, I can see why Tyra would go big with this, but it's actually a store in the mall, and it is available for franchise. So if this podcast thing doesn't work out,
we could be Modelland franchisers.
Owners. We could be Modelland owners.
Because the Santa Monica Mall is right next door to an actual theme park, so that might be what the connection is.
Maybe that's the crossover. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's
so
helpful.
It might be more appropriate than it sounds. I mean, the whole thing just sounds like horrible.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine.
Nothing appealing about that at all.
Well, it's really funny, right? Because you and I did a photo shoot probably a couple months ago now, right? And we were so stoked because we got wardrobe, we got jewelry, we did our own hair and makeup, we hired a photographer, we scouted out some location places. And for the first 30 minutes, we slayed.
It was a blast.
It was amazing.
But then your hair gets messed up.
Yeah. And like you get tired. It was tiring.
Yeah.
We only did it for 2 hours. That was the
longest 2 hours of my life.
It was very long. I ran out of poses. My hair got frizzy. I made some choices with my hair that I couldn't backtrack on.
I didn't have a creative director to tell me, take off your bra.
That's right. There's bra straps showing. I started to get a little sweaty. I was sore the next day. I was hungry by the time it was over. I mean, and so the reason that was on top of my brain is because we were looking through all of our photos last night or this weekend. And it's like the ones at the beginning are like, yes. And the ones at the end are, I mean, it's clear that we're dragging.
You can just see that we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
So it was hard work.
It was. And
I can't believe I just said that modeling was hard work. It was.
Every model says it's like, it's not easy. It's hard work. And I get it. And I totally understand that there is a skill that you develop when you become a model because like to just like walk up and know how to pose, I do believe is a skill to know your angles. Although I do believe that like true models, all angles are great angles.
Agreed.
But to know your angles, to know what poses, like actually take good photos.
Right.
and all that stuff is, I do think it's a skill, and I do think it's hard work.
Yeah.
Of course. I also know that it's not in my wheelhouse.
Well, we were like
not a model. Not a model.
Hashtag not a model.
Not a model.
We were pretty limited in our choices of photos that we really ended up picking out because it was like I had the same 3 poses, one of which was me with my mouth wide open.
Yes. I noticed you kept like the ones you kept liking were the ones where you had like the huge smile. I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm learning. This is what Heidi likes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, or like, hands on my waist, trying to like kind of make my waist look small and my, how can I work my angles, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah, because like if I had any skill or practice or was prepared for this, I would have known how to pose to try to like bring out the best in me.
Maybe.
But I have no effing idea. So I was just like,
maybe that's the hook for Modelland. Maybe we get a Modelland, we franchise a Modelland, and then our motto is like, come here and practice for your photo shoot. And then like you go to your photo shoot and you've done it before. It's not your first rodeo. You know what to expect. You got your angles down pat, whatever. I think our photo shoot would have been improved as well if we would have had like a hair person, like a hair fluffer. To fix our hair between.
on a bra strap pusher inner.
Yeah.
Bra straps everywhere in these photos.
What we needed was an intern. To help us with a paid intern. We're not trying to make anyone work for free. Paid intern to help us with that. So maybe there is
Down
hope.
the road.
Maybe there's hope yet for us in Modelland. Maybe now that we've done a photo shoot, now we could go to Modelland and see if we learn anything. I don't know. I don't think this is the last we've heard of it. If we get a picture of Modelland, we might broadcast from there next week. Whoa.
Okay.
Just saying.
Everything inside me is screaming, I don't want to go anywhere near Modelland, but I'll be open. I'll be open to the idea. I am a 42-year-old woman who's going to Modelland.
Maybe. Give it a
Fuck
shot.
it.
Yes.
Fuck it.
Let's see. So our wardrobe tonight is provided by Adorn. We hit up Adorn this week.
Resort wear.
Resort wear in my
I really think this needs to be with like nothing under
Yeah,
it. though.
absolutely. Our listeners, our gift to you is that you can use our discount code to shop at Adorn and get a 10% discount. So you hit up www.shopadorn.com and you put in the discount code ALLGOLDPOD for your 10% discount. And 2 things I noticed while I was at Adorn. First of all, wide leg pants are back.
I like the wide leg pants.
That's the thing that's happening. I also like the wide leg pants. Is there a reason why you like wide leg pants?
No.
The reason that I like wide leg pants is I have very large feet, and I like that wide leg pants hide my feet usually.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so when I wear a wide leg pant, you usually can just see the very tip of my toe come out of it, and I love that for me.
Yeah. What's the best shoe to wear with a wide leg pant? This is where I get into trouble.
Oh, I do too. In the summertime, it's a little bit easier because I love a platform heel or, like something stacked, a stacked heel, a chunky heel with a wide leg pant. But in the wintertime, it's like, it depends on how long the pant is. If it's if it's a jean, sometimes I'll wear a sneaker with it.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe,
struggle. I really struggle with the shoes with the wide leg pants.
Yeah. And it is harder in the wintertime in Portland anyway, especially with the wet, because then it soaks up, kind of acts like a sponge. And the other thing I noticed is that, and the kind of secondary to the wide leg pants thing is I saw this fashion thing the other day that said asymmetrical pants are coming.
What does that mean?
So 1 skinny leg and 1 wide leg.
No, not gonna do it.
I knew that you'd feel some kind of way about this. I wish I would have let off the show with this story.
Not gonna do it. That's a joke on you, friend. I triple dog dare you to wear that shit.
I feel like I agree. That is just something that you wouldn't want to spend a lot of money on a pair of asymmetrical pants, right?
Like back in the 90s when like Lil' Kim would wear some shit that's like all naked on one side and then huge on the other.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Like the joke, no. No.
The 90s are coming. The 90s they're back again. Which reminds me, I heard this other story today about a woman who's on a podcast who's restyling her entire 2019 wardrobe off the Fran Drescher from The Nanny wardrobe. Which I'm not super familiar with that show. I never watched it. Did you ever watch it?
I don't think I ever watched it, but I feel like Fran Drescher wore a lot of pussy bows.
Yeah, bright
colors, blouses.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking shoulder pads, big shoulder pads. I can't afford to put any more girth on these shoulders. I have big shoulders as it is. I don't need any more padding on them for like a power pose or anything.
So you don't want to wear like a blazer with shoulder blades and then like asymmetrical pant?
Theoretically, conceptually, I can get on board with this.
Yeah.
But if I was like a third of the size that I am, I feel like my normal human size would be exacerbated because of the shoulder pads and then the asymmetry on the leg. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And the other thing that's coming back are lots of block stripes. There's stripes everywhere, which as I get older, I feel better about horizontal stripes than I used to. I don't know. Just an observation.
Excellent. Can we make a theme for 2019 for
our wardrobes?
We can't, but if you were, what would your theme be? Like, what would you want it to be?
I feel like my thing about what I wear is that typically I feel like my clothes choices are so nautical themed. Like, I feel like I wear a ton of navy. I wear a ton of like oranges, and I just feel like very conservative and nautical in like in my clothes.
So like polo, like Ralph Lauren girl?
Kind of, yeah. And I would like to be doing something a little different than that.
So fantasy me hard right now. What would be like your fantasy?
I think part of it is that with this new hair, now that I'm not a brunette anymore, I would love to do a lot of jewel tones, bright colors. And I'm doing more, this winter I'm doing a lot of cropped sweatshirts, which I'm loving. And nice. I wouldn't mind going into the spring that way with some more cropped options, but maybe with a crop of something. I'm not like there to wear a crop top with nothing underneath it because it's just not. I'm not there yet. But like a crop top with like just a little tank underneath it. I don't know. God, I need to work on some fashion stuff before you ask me questions like this. Okay. What about you? What would your fantasy wardrobe be as we head in?
Like, I think that if I could just like go and change my whole wardrobe for 2019 and just like the shit that I like doing right now, which is like pretty much nothing. I would love to do like the whole Yeezy line all 2019, just like sneakers and sweats and baggy shit.
Yes.
Just like I want to be Yeezy all 2019.
I love that for you.
It's fantasy, right? Because it's like it'd be pretty crazy, but
I love that.
I would be down for that.
I feel like last night you channeled a little bit of that. You had some sneakers on and jeans and like a baggy long sleeve.
Okay.
That was cute.
Okay, but that was nothing near what I'm envisioning. But thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like it. I'll take it. But like that is because I am wearing like that long sleeve t-shirt. Like I'm wearing it a lot this winter because it's baggy and long sleeve and warm and comfy.
It's so cute too. And one of the things that I love about a long sleeve t-shirt, it's like a basic, for our listeners at home or whatever, it's like a basic cotton t-shirt that's long sleeve that you get at, I don't know, I feel like you used to be able to get cotton long sleeve t-shirts everywhere, and then they got replaced by technical t-shirts.
Yeah.
So like you used to be able to enter a race and you get like a cool long sleeve cotton t-shirt that said like Shamrock
like
Run
in the 80s.
1987.
Yeah.
And it lasted forever, and then it got threadbare and like whatever. But it was awesome. And now everything's technical tees, and I hate long sleeve technical tees with a passion. I miss the days of so it seemed like when I saw you wearing that shirt last night, I felt like it was a throwback.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah, I like it
Yeah,
for that
comfy.
reason. I bought that one the last time I was in Providence, and then I bought Joey one that's just all tie-dyed because he was like used to be a deadhead in his Arizona State University days. So he has one that's like the same basic cotton tee but tie-dyed, and it's like we've been just wearing those all winter.
I'm here for it. I like that. I need to get my hands on some long sleeve cotton. I think that's the other thing too, because I'm unemployed at the moment. I don't have I don't know if I should refer to myself as unemployed because I'm hustling.
You're self-employed.
Self-employed. I'm making the shift in perspective. I'm not really sure what my look should be. So I find myself gravitating towards like really dressy, like traditional office stuff. Like I love a great suit dress. I think it makes life so easy to just dress in suit dresses and dresses that are cute and functional like that. Or like more polished dresses like that, or leggings and a flannel shirt. Like there's just not a lot of middle ground for me at the moment. And that's really where all my fashion is kind of headed to. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it evolves. You can't force it. Like, because that's why the Yeezy thing would never work for me. It's fun to fantasize about, but if like if I got $50,000 and I bought, like 4 shirts and 4 pairs of pants, it would look so silly. I would be like, I'm trying so hard, and I'd feel like a fool. So it's like, it's a fantasy. It's a look I would like. So what that does for me is, okay, now I have a little inspiration, and I could like grab something that fits that vibe, and grab another thing that fits that vibe and fits my body. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
And then it kind of puts together something that is inspired by, something, but is actually more true to myself.
I need some help with this. I feel like I need you to help me with my wardrobe inspiration as we move into 2019. It'd be really fun to do some shopping together.
I love shopping.
Well, I guarantee that in 2019 I'll be wearing something. I just don't know. I will not be doing anything without clothes in 2019, really, so that'll be fine. And speaking of wardrobes, this crazy story, it's not really that crazy. I feel like this happens in Southeast Portland all the time. But this was on BuzzFeed this week because apparently it was like national newsworthy. There was a girl at the University of North Carolina in Greensboro who was living in a dorm or maybe like shared housing of some kind. You know, she's like living with her roommates. And she kept coming home to find like pieces of her wardrobe were missing or stuff had been rearranged or whatever. And she really didn't think that much of it. I'm assuming because she lived with other people. And then one day she was home and she heard some noise coming from her closet and she opened it up and there was a guy in there, a man in there wearing some of her clothes who like looked up at her and was like, "Hey man, I'm Drew." Like introduced.
Was he living in her closet?
He was not living in her. The headline might have said that. No, the headline said she found him in her closet. He wasn't living in her closet.
So was he like a stalker?
Maybe. So I didn't.
A peeping Tom as well.
A peeping Tom.
Was he a peeping Tom?
I just feel like, I don't know exactly what about this story makes it worthy to be covered at a national level. I feel like meth heads break into Southeast Portland homes all the time and do shit like this. It is like scary how familiar with this setup that I was like, rolls off the back. Well, not a big deal.
Yeah, that's like some really normal shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad it made news. But you reminded me of something.
Tell me, Sandy. Lay it on me.
The Netflix series called You.
Oh, this has the guy from Gossip Girl in it. Dan, yes. Tell me about it.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it. You have? You've watched the whole thing?
It's a page turner. No, I haven't got through the whole thing.
Okay. I could watch it by next week.
Watch it. Mm-hmm. So many thoughts, but it starts off very addictive. I'll just say that. So you'll get addicted for the first several episodes and then it kind of peters out.
Yes.
But what made me think of it is that you talked about the stalker thing. Mm-hmm. And the reason this made my radar was because when I was in Hawaii with my daughter, I opened her computer and she had a little piece of tape over her webcam.
Over her camera. Smart girl.
And she said it's because, don't you know that like stalkers, creepers can like hack into your computer and just like watch you, everything you do.
Yeah.
And I did not know that.
I feel like that's a piece of information that's in my brain that I'm just like, whatever.
My coworker. So I have like a partner who we flip off. So if I'm not at work, he's there. And if I'm there, he's off work.
Oh, got it.
And
okay.
so we share the same workstation. And there's always been a piece of blue tape over the camera. And I'm like, this dude's so fucking paranoid. Like nobody wants to watch us go like this.
I know. Yeah.
All day.
But maybe someone does.
I
know. It's really interesting because I don't have that much of a problem. I don't have a PC set up at home and I do have a laptop, but I keep it closed when I'm not using it. Like I really never keep it open. But one of the things I do have that's open regularly is that my Peloton has a touch screen and it has a camera in it. So if you wanted to like live chat with another rider, you could like have a little chat going on while you were riding your bike. I've never used it because I'm always breathless when I'm on that. There's no way I could have a conversation with anyone. But there's a whole thing in the writers forum about like covering up the camera with tape. And I'm always like, it does seem a little paranoid and like self-important to me. I could see why someone might want to watch me work out because I'd be wearing a sports bra and getting sweaty, but I mean, otherwise I'm like not really that interesting or important or, I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
I have also always thought that it was paranoia, but maybe it's like more of the reality that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave new world out there for sure, and I like that. You got to be smart about technology. I think.
Right.
That's the bottom line is. We actually do give up so much of our privacy with these.
The little rectangle.
And I think that you at the very beginning does just such a great job of illustrating that. It illustrates how much we rely on this technology and how much of our privacy we really give away. And kind of just made me think about, just like constant vigilance. Like,
right.
And I'm lucky that I'm kind of like out of the stalking territory.
Yeah.
And all of my stalkers were in a different day and time. I've had a few. But we didn't have this technology back then.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Yeah, it would make you. I have a feeling it would make me think twice about all the stuff that I just hit the yes to. Agree, allow access. You know, like, I don't know what kind of I don't track very well what kind of information I give my little rectangle that keeps me connected to the world. That made
But I track my husband.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm. And he tracks me.
It's cute. It's romantic when you guys do it.
I need to. Sometimes we just need to know where each other are.
Whatever.
Well, when I went on my 18 miler out in Forest Park,
Yeah.
I brought my phone, and he was like, he texted, "Yay boo!"
Oh, that's cute.
Yay boo!
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what's the update on Wildwood End to End? So for our listeners that are just tuning in or just joining us, can you explain to them what that is and what your update is on it?
I think officially we've got 4 of us. On March 23rd, we're going to run about 30 and a half miles, almost to 50K in Forest Park in Portland.
Ooh, girl.
It's the Wildwood Trail. We're going to start at the zoo, and we're going to end at Newberry Road, and we're going to run the whole thing together as a group.
I will be there cheering, providing snacks with signs, maybe jogging a little bit here and there.
So we're in the second week of the last build.
Ooh, very exciting.
So shit's getting real, real.
How many miles did you run last week?
53.
And how many miles are you going to run this week?
Somewhere in the 50s.
Oh my God. And how many hours a week do you work?
Greater than 40.
Greater than 40. And how many hours a week do we do this stuff? We did probably 10 hours of work on the podcast this week between Monday and today and Friday.
Oh yeah. So but this is the beautiful thing for me about training and what I love, because you guys probably haven't heard me say in several weeks what I actually have said a lot of in the past, and when I've talked about being depressed. That was kind of a common recurrent theme, but have you heard me say that?
I have not heard you say that in a while. Oh, look at that. Running a natural antidote to depression for you.
Yeah,
Most people.
I'm finding that I feel like so much more like myself. I'm getting back to who I am and what I love. And it's not just running. I mean, I do like running, but running is hard. These
hard.
long runs are not like, I'm not like flying a pony on a rainbow. It's hard. And I get nervous about them, and I stress about them. And luckily I haven't had any sufferfests yet.
Sufferfest. Oh
knock on wood. But I also just love how it feels to do something hard. Like that is just like
pride,
a true esteem. For
me, it's pride.
Esteem builder. And it's like, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And the other thing that makes me feel really good is prioritizing something that's important to me.
Yeah.
So no, because I have to go to bed early, or no, this is the best thing I love prioritizing. I have to eat.
Yeah.
Like, I have to eat, and I have to, I have to make sure that I drink like water throughout the day. And I love, I just love how good it feels to prioritize taking care of myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I do think, and I found myself frequently on natural highs because of it.
That's amazing.
So it's been a really good experience for me. I hope it has been for the other people who are doing it too. We've been in touch because I was trying to get together a group run on Saturday. Saturday.
It's awesome. I love that you acknowledge that running is hard. That's one of the things that I think is really, as someone who was not, I've had a love-hate relationship with running really in my adult life. As a kid, I really didn't run at all because I was a heavy kid and I didn't like it and it was hard. So why would I do it, And then as an adult, I really did get into doing it. I did a lot of it with you, without you, before I met you. And by the time I was finished doing it, I was regularly running like 5 or 6 miles a night and whatever, and maybe 5 nights a week or something, 4 or 5 nights a week. And I ran into somebody who was new to running who was like, wow, that's so much. Like, it's so hard for me. And I said, honestly, I've been running consistently for about a decade. And it really only just started to feel good for me, or only just started to feel easier than it used to feel. It was hard for me for a long time because it is challenging. And I just feel like there is something about running that a lot of runners are really perseverant and willing to kind of stick out some of the discomfort and pain that it causes, because it feels so good when you're done. And it feels good to do the things you're talking about, to fuel yourself for it, to prioritize your sleep, to make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah, and I think that it actually I think that any veteran runner who's not full of shit would tell you that it never gets easier, it just gets faster.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I hadn't thought about it that way. I like that. Well, this is kind of right out of the Sandy Chronicles. It's right in your wheelhouse. Did you read about this guy in Colorado that had a run-in with a mountain lion?
No.
He's a trail runner out in Colorado.
Terrifying. I've seen those YouTube videos, though. They're incredible.
And he had a run-in with a mountain lion, and he killed the mountain lion with his bare hands.
Why?
Oh, he got attacked by it.
Okay.
I mean, and he had been mauled on his face, and like it was a life or death.
What, did he choke it?
He did. He strangled it. He strangled the mountain lion. So this news article is everywhere because like just the sheer like insanity of the fact that this human guy had been trail running, got attacked by this mountain lion, had been mauled basically by the mountain lion, and was able to strangle the mountain lion.
I think the mountain lion probably had mad cow disease.
Maybe.
I mean, if you
did say
if you can strangle a mountain lion, I think that mountain lion is ill.
They said it tested negative for rabies. They did test it for rabies because he had been bitten and I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sliced, like
I don't know what the word you're looking for is.
I don't either, but it's all right. We'll get there on it.
He'd been sliced.
He'd been like, he had like gashes on him. Oh my God. Anyway.
I think mauled does it.
Mauled captures it appropriately.
I feel like that's really descriptive.
Anyway, I thought of you when I read the story because I just felt like, we have talked about that several times. So that'd be so scary.
So that reminds me because like my cat was a prolific killer at my old home. He was like always
the Ted Bundy of cats.
He was...
I couldn't help myself.
He was a prolific murderer.
Uh-huh.
He murdered hard. And he would always be bringing in like these giant birds. And we're like, how did he get this giant bird? And I always kind of bragged about my cat's like murderous prowess.
Yeah.
And then Joey moved in briefly, and Joey works from home, and he sat in the sunroom doing his work. And what Joey realized was the sunroom was all glass, and birds would fly into the window and be stunned on the deck.
And then your cat would get them.
Then my cat would get them. And I think that's got to be somehow referential to this mountain lion story, because I know we trail runners are pretty badass, but can we really kill a mountain lion with our bare hands? Only if it has mad cow disease.
All right. So you're not quite buying it that it was a fully healthy mountain lion.
No, no. Or it was like
Sandy's gonna need a receipt.
Old mountain.
Sandy's gonna need for you to come out with a receipt on
like
this one.
It was like old mountain lion, old mountain lion mountain,
geriatric
or whatever.
mountain lion.
Yeah. And that's fucked up, man. Like, why'd you have to do that? Why'd you have to do that to that old guy?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
That's my take on that story.
Yes. Well, we're at about at the point of the show. Oh, one other thing I did want to see, because we were so adamant about the Pelosi clap, the fuck you clap. I wanted to know, did you waste any? Watch the State of the Union last night?
I didn't
either. I don't
give
give
a fuck about the State of the Union. You know what? I can tell you the State of the Union. What does this man have to say that matters in any way, shape, or form?
No, and I don't know why anyone would sit around and watch like a proven liar lie some more. Right? Maybe if there was something that was like I didn't agree with, but this was a person with integrity or whatever. But like, why would I waste any time watching someone with no integrity make up lies for hours on end? Like, no, thank you.
No. And just what is it? Like self-congratulate.
Self-congratulate.
I haven't even actually heard anything about what he said, but I could probably pretty much tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius.
No.
If you've been awake, like during some parts of the day for the past couple years, you could probably like tell us all what he said.
Yeah. The only thing I have time for related to the State of the Union address is the clap.
So was that just how she was applauding him after he told his little story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I'm glad that you didn't watch it either. Good. We didn't waste any of our time.
No.
Bye.
No.
Okay. So as we move into our main segment for the show tonight, I wanted to have a discussion about ambition.
Ambition.
We got that blonde ambition. I don't know how that Madonna song goes, but I'm sure it's not like that.
I don't know any songs that have the word ambition in it.
Doesn't Madonna have a song called Blonde Ambition? Or is it an
she has
album?
A record, but I don't know that. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know either. That's a good question. I should have looked that up for for reference material. And we had an episode that we titled Blonde Ambition a couple. Oh,
You know what? When I think about a song about ambition,
what?
Let the river run. Let all the dreamers wake the nation. Do you know that song?
No, I'm bopping with you though. Who is it?
I don't fucking know. It's in the movie Working Girl.
Oh, cute. That is a movie about ambition.
Yes.
Her little Nikes with her little sheer tights.
A new job.
A Reeboks.
I just choked.
Oh my God.
The universe wanted me to stop.
That is a great movie, Working Girl. Not
Working
9 to 5,
Girl.
Working Girl. My dad really liked that movie. I remember seeing it a lot as a kid. Probably because
It's totally about ambition.
Yeah, it is.
And that song is back in the day when I used to listen to music when I ran. That was always on my running playlist. It's just
I love
like
that.
It has this like inspiring build to a climax.
I love that. I love that. So a couple weeks ago, we had, maybe a month ago, we had an episode that we dropped titled Blonde Ambition. But honestly, we didn't really get around to having, our time constraints really stopped us from getting around to having a discussion about ambition. And instead,
We like totally talked about our hair.
instead, I spent most of the time slamming Sheryl Sandberg.
We just
Although,
didn't talk about ambition.
We did establish that Cheryl Strayed is different than Sheryl Sandberg, and that's an important difference.
It was a very important podcast.
So if nothing else, we learned that. So anyway, I was thinking a little bit about ambition today and what that has looked like. And I just was talking to Sandy and just said, I just want to have kind of I don't know why, just have a discussion about ambition and what that means and what it used to mean and what our experiences with being ambitious or having ambition have been. And as I sat with it for the day, I was thinking more and more about how I do feel like I have had stages of ambition in my life where, in my early my teens, I would say my teens to my 20s, there was just kind of like this blind ambition, just this driven ambition to achieve or to be the first or to be the best. It was really outcome focused ambition of there was a thing that had to be achieved and I had to achieve it because I said so. So there was this really driven version of ambition. And then I don't know if it is because of age or sobriety or failure that I feel like some of my perspective on ambition has changed a little bit from this objective oriented ambition to a more I do still feel ambitious, but I feel like so much more of it is just about it's a little bit like the hustle discussion where it's just so much more of my ambition today is just about taking actions, little tiny actions that will eventually materialize in some outcome that I have a general idea of what I would like it to be, but I'm not really quite as attached to the thing that I used to be. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
How is this? So is this a new thing in that it's all kind of esoteric and out there and still in the ideal phase, or is this something that you have experienced and you're oh well, I wanted to do this and I kept, what did you say, doing the next thing and the next little thing and then it materialized. Is this something that you've experienced?
Yeah,
or
I guess I just think that when I was a young person, ambition was, I can specifically remember I want to be the first this. I want to be first this. I want to be on, I wanted to be on the student government board at the University of Pittsburgh. And so I talked to the people I needed to talk to. I ran the campaign. I did the thing. I got elected to the thing. You know what I mean? And it was very I want to do this. Here's how I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do. And anymore, and like I said, I don't know if this is related to age or sobriety or failure or a combination of the three. I think that now things have shifted a little bit where it's specifically I have a goal in mind. I feel like I have some ambition around entrepreneurship, right? And one of the goals that's related to that is writing this book about relationships. And my approach to it has been a little bit different. I mean, I have started out, I set some kind of mid-range deadlines for it around how many words I might need to write and how often I should have those words finished by. But I also spent a lot of time in meditation, asking the universe to just guide my thoughts and actions, to direct my energy for the day, and just kind of have some new acceptance of I may write this book and I'm in the process of writing it, right? I just hired an editor this week. My timeline's gonna have to shift a little bit from what I thought it was gonna be. But I may write the book and maybe one person will read it. And like that, maybe that's not the end of the game. Like maybe that means like my ambition is going to have to shift course because the outcome, there's something else for me that's not necessarily the outcome I wanted. Whereas like in my teens and 20s, like if I would have run for student government and not won, I would have been devastated, right? Or if I ran for sorority vice president and didn't win, I was devastated. Or, you know, like there was so much less acceptance around like that my defined goal was maybe not like the best thing for my life. And anymore, I feel like I have some ideas about what I would like this book goal to look like, but it might not be what I need it to be. And I guess I'm okay with that. And I don't know, like I said, that might be related to maturity or I don't know, spiritual growth or failure. It had me thinking about failure too. But so I do think my type of ambition has shifted a little bit from a blindly driven ambition to achieve particular outcomes to like an open-minded ambition of like, well, I am going to hustle. I'm going to show up because I was trying to decide like, do I even have ambition anymore? And that's true. I do. Because I want to hustle, right? I want to like there are some goals that I want to reach, some things I want to do, but I do feel like my open-mindedness around them has expanded tremendously.
Yeah. And
that's not the way it used to be. It used to be like very narrow focus, very pinpoint ideas of what would be successful.
So when you think about like Heidi right now, and you think about, so it sounds like what you're saying is you think you're still an ambitious person. You still characterize yourself as a woman with ambition.
Yeah, I would.
Like when you think about ambition, like what do you visualize? Like, because when you're talking about goals, right? You're like student government or writing a book, right? And I hear so hard what you're saying because you plant seeds and you see what blooms and you don't know if the book's going to be one that blooms.
Right,
you're planting seeds. The podcast is planting a seed. The coaching is planting a seed. The book is planting a seed. And you don't know what's going to bloom. And in your meditation, it looks like you're finding ways to just kind of give it up to the universe and let yourself be directed. But what that ambition is doing for you is guiding you to keep hustling and staying on course.
Right.
But there's always something really within. There's really always, I was going to say at the end of that ambition, but there's something within that wants something for you.
Right.
That's ambition to me. So for me, I'm curious, what is that within you that wants something for you and what does it want for you?
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't really considered it that way, but I love the way that you explained it much better than I could have because even just the seed discussion was better, right? Like in my youth, there was only one seed to plant to get to the one goal.
Well, and you were always going from A to B, it sounds like.
Very linear.
Yeah.
Very linear. And in my maturity, it's more like, oh, it is less linear, more opportunities, more seeds to plant just to see what happens. And I mean, I love how you shifted that because the thing that's in me is like, anymore, I want to, like, my ambition is related to some security, some financial security, creating some financial security for myself, and to having some freedom around how I spend my time.
Yeah, freedom's a big one for me too. Like that's new for me in my maturity is because I definitely identify with being an ambitious woman, but it's really different. And the way I see it is, for me, I don't know. I always go back to my childhood because I feel like we're all born into a set of circumstances we can't work our way out of and we can't hustle our way out of.
Right.
We are children in the families and the circumstances that we're given to. So what that experience allowed for me, and I think allows for just a lot of ambitious people, is to see what we want in our lives and what we don't want in our lives. And I think that powerlessness of the child and whatever character development comes along as we grow up kind of helps form and guide that ambition in our gut.
Yeah.
Like I knew I had a strong value on independence. I learned from childhood experiences of powerlessness that I don't want to depend on anybody. I don't want to depend on, and especially any man. And my aunt really like drilled that into my head. Always have a backup. So she's
Love
like,
it.
if you're going to depend on a man, you need to have 3 behind him. And so it's like, I feel like there's this place of powerlessness as children where we we kind of get our ideas about what we want in our lives and what we don't want in our lives. And I think that not until we get into adulthood and maybe for some of us adolescence, because I know that for me it did have to start in adolescence, do we start to have a little bit of power where we can start directing our intentions towards whatever that is.
Yeah.
So for me, it was independence. And I ended up with a kid pretty young. So for me, it was independence for us. And then it also turned into this big, I want to give my daughter like what I thought I didn't have. And so all my ambition was really directed in like along the linear social script because what it became for was providing for my daughter. So that looked like traditional ambition, going to school, getting the degree, getting the job, the career, buying the house. And that was incredibly ambitious. And like the payoff of that is huge. Like, so I got to be a single mother raising a kid who became a professional and purchased her own home. So I achieved like some pretty like hefty goals.
Yeah.
And that was totally driven and that was totally ambition. And that was totally built from this sense of self and drive that I grew from based on like my experiences of powerlessness as a child. And that I think drives so many ambitious people to so many incredible heights. Like when you think about like these really wealthy entrepreneurs, it's because like it all stems from what they experienced as children. I think I've seen. And, but now like, you know, it's so crazy because I used to, as I was achieving like things, I was like, I didn't even feel like it was me achieving it.
Almost like out of body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, but I have to,
you just
but I
keep
have
going,
to.
and you just keep going.
I keep going.
Yeah.
And then I've had this big shift that I think is just like literally age and maturity and connection to, you know, the universe.
Source or power. Yeah.
And then it's like now the same value that I had as a child for independence and freedom now is so strong inside me that where my ambition drives me is for freedom.
Yeah.
Like I want more financial freedom.
Yeah.
I want more freedom to be my authentic self.
Yep.
And so my movements in my career and in my extracurricular activities with you, like with this podcast, are all around that freedom.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how the way that I can relate today to ambition. And it's funny that just as mature women who are maturing, that we have the same freedom. Yeah.
Well, what I love about that is hearing you tell your experience with ambition really kind of crystallized for me that it sounds to me like your ambition has actually really been value driven from the get-go. And I think part of what I'm thinking about my own experience, and, you know, I don't know that my ambition as a young person was really very value driven. I think it was really very like kind of linear social script driven. Like I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to be high achieving. I did have a little bit of like, I need to be high achieving because of the alcoholism in my family. So there was like that kind of perspective for me that made me feel like I must achieve so no one knows what's going on, that kind of cover up stuff. But I was thinking about my own experience where it's like, I was a juvenile really until I was in my 30s. There was nothing in my life that required me to grow up. I don't have any children. I had no responsibility. I had a safety net. Like I had a life of tremendous privilege, and the only thing I really did to it was fuck it up with alcoholism. So I was really juvenile until I hit my 30s. And so I was starting to think the ambition that I had of my youth, I actually think was really related to kind of like labeling or like two labels or two things that are projected as success. And it's interesting that in maturity and sobriety, I can have a ambition that really is values driven, and that your ambition has been values driven since the time you were a young person, but because you had some circumstances that required like a lot of maturity for a young person, you made the shift to kind of values driven ambition pretty early, it sounds like. And so I wonder I just wondered if those two things are related at all, but I love the idea. I love the concept of a value-driven ambition, and I'm happy to find myself there now. I'm feeling really grateful that like knocking down the door of 40 now, I'm moving into some ambition that's really internally driven by real values that I hold, and that one of them, you know, and that one of them's freedom, because, you know, I was thinking about it, especially, I haven't worked since October for my old job. And, occasionally, of course, I'm like, oh, I should just go find a 9 to 5. I should just go do this. I should just go do this. And it's like, I don't want to work for someone. I want to work for me. Mm-hmm. I want to work for me because I really want to have the freedom and flexibility that comes with, that's one of the value pieces of the ambition puzzle for me at the moment. And then another of the value pieces is the financial security, right? But it's really, I don't know, that just like kind of blew my mind. Thank you for having that conversation with me on podcast tonight because it blew my wig back a little bit.
Oh, good.
I love it.
Didn't you have an ambition though at one point to be like famous singer or actress or something?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up singing. I was a talented singer. I was a talented singer. I studied voice. I studied it for probably 13 years, classically trained vocalist. And I went to the University of Pittsburgh to study voice there. And because they had a great music department and it was one of my best options of choices that I had. And I destroyed that ambition with alcoholism. I mean, you can't sing classical opera when you've been out drinking, an entire case of Natty Light and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes the night before. So I studied, when I was in Pittsburgh, I studied with a really incredible vocal coach who had coached a lot of famous singers that had come through Pittsburgh. And he sat me down one day and was like, you are a little girl from Iowa and you need to go back home because you're not ready for the big city and you can't do this. You're not ready. Yeah, and I had to take the bus to see him because he was off campus, and I got back on the city bus and I sat in the back row and I just cried. I was so devastated. He was really the first person that ever said no to me. Mm-hmm. I had been, like I said, I was really talented, and so people had been greenlighting me and yesing me all the way through. And then at 20, he was like, "You're not ready for this. Yeah, you're fucking this up, and it's your own fucking fault." You should have
gone and saw R. Kelly. He would have hooked your ass up.
I'm glad I didn't go see.
Thumbs down that.
I'm glad I didn't go see R. Kelly, but it does make me think
I'm glad you didn't go see R. Kelly.
That was right around the time that I ended up in my first AA meeting, and I wasn't ready. And it does make me sometimes wish that I was, but I needed, that was like, it's funny because I have on here failures. Like, did my ambition change from certain failures? And I really was like, what are some of those failures? And that was a huge one for me. That was devastating. And really what it did for me was it just threw more alcohol on the fire. I mean, I drank at that for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that time you didn't have the resilience, that you have now, because I do think that that's something, like, I know that, it's something that, I would look for, like, in a candidate. I'm involved in an interview process right now, and emotional maturity and resilience are something that we look for at this level. And I think that it's something that very few millennials have, because the green lighting and the yesing. Oh,
you're so great. Yes,
and all that. And it's like, and I think that failure goes hand in hand with achievement. Yeah. And to remain and to be an ambitious person, like, I feel like a truly ambitious person is able to pick themselves up after failure. It doesn't mean it's easy. It's just like running. Right. Like, it's never going to be easy to pick yourself up after failure. It's a blow in many ways, largely to the ego. It's true. But it's like, when the eye is on the prize and there's a values driven ambition, that's when we pick ourselves up and keep going. Yeah. And that's character. That's
true. And what's really interesting is about 4 years ago, I started to study voice again, because I had once I had that experience with that guy, I know I was underage, so I must have been 20. And it wasn't until I was 34, I waited 14 years to go back to the thing that I loved so much, the thing that made me feel free, that made my heart feel full, that just like could take me out of any bad mood. It was so painful to go back to it that I waited that long until I started studying again. And I was studying with a vocal coach here in Portland who lives right near the studio, actually. Hi, Daniel. And I was talking to him and I'm like, I think I want to audition for the opera. And he was like, we can do this. You can audition for the Portland Opera. You are quality enough that if they have you, it's a possibility. He was like, it's going to be hard because you're going to be up against some people who are really like credentialed, but like, let's do it, And so we got our everything dialed in, and I showed up on, this is a great story. I submitted my resume to, you have to submit your resume to get an audition spot. My resume was very weak because I hadn't done anything in 15 years. And I got waitlisted for a spot, and Daniel believed in me, and he was like, you need to door bust that audition. So just go down there.
Yes.
Just go down there, wait outside the door. Somebody's not going to show up. Just tell them I'm here. I'm waitlisted. I'm just going to hang out here. And I was like, okay. And he was like, honestly, you'd be better off doing that than being caught cold and having them call you and just say like, come down here. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I get dressed, I do my makeup, I do my warm-ups, I go down there. I'm on my way there, and they call me to tell me that they have a spot for me, and can I be there? And I'm like, I'm practically there, like sitting outside, and I got to go in, and I got to leave it all out on the table. And, I was not selected for the Portland Opera Course, but it felt shitty for the week that I was left kind of waiting. But you know what? It didn't have nearly the, it just was such a different, that kind of failure was such a different experience than that nearly the same failure of my youth, and it was a beautiful testament to like maturity and ambition and drive and values, like all those things kind of coming together. Gosh, thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't think of it on my own.
And there's so many, and like in anything that we do that we care about, I think it's fair to say that there are so many failures within them. Like even just like training. I was talking to somebody I'm training with, like there's bad runs.
Yeah.
And Dana at Ultra U Coach, Dana Katz, recently posted an Instagram post, and it said like basically never assess your fitness level when running uphill.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's because like,
I love that.
I know, I love it too, but it's like there's so many failures within whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, and having the resilience to pick yourself back up and to keep going for it, to be able to say it was just a bad training run, instead of saying
I'm the worst.
I'm not an athlete, I'm not a runner, I'm not a singer, because you never know what seed you planted that day in there and where that could take you.
Exactly.
So I think that's important to point out.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great additional piece to add. I don't have much more to add to the discussion of ambition. Have you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I feel happy
so
about that.
I just want to, let's end it with this, because this is always tough, but it could be fun. Let's see if our minds are open enough. This could be fun.
Let's see.
So something that we're asking candidates right now that we are interviewing is, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and where do you see yourself in 10 years? Since we're talking about ambition, I'm curious if you have an answer to that. You don't have to, because I'm not interviewing you for a position.
I know where I want to be. I mean, I do have a vision that, in kind of in the vein of like manifesting. Like I have a vision of like, I envision myself being on a book tour and speaking at events in 5 years, whether that is for the book that I'm writing, or whether we're podcasting live in 5 years all the time. Like I know that my values of like travel, freedom, and joy are going to come together in the next 5 years. And so I don't know if I have one for 10, because I feel like I'm so stuck. I'm like so stoked on what I think is
10
coming
is
up
hard,
in 5.
huh?
Yeah. Maybe in 10, I don't know. I don't know about 10. I know for 5 though, that's what I see us doing.
Yeah.
Me, us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for including me. Yeah. I love that. It warms my heart. Keep including me.
Yeah, always, always. What about you?
It's really hard for me to answer, because like I am in this place, I am in a really amazing spot in my life where, like, I've achieved more and everything than I ever thought that I would. But that doesn't mean that like I'm done. Like I know that means I'm not done. So I'm kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with, like I'm definitely manifesting right along with you, the tours, the touring with this. And so that I'm all in with that. But like when I actually get down to like my true self, I want to be exactly where I am right now, married to the man I'm married to. My dog is just going to be a little bit bigger and have a little bit more control of his bladder.
Oh, please, God.
And then I just envision myself having more time to do the things I really want to do. And what that looks like to me in my vision is I'm walking my dog with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It doesn't sound like ambition though, does it?
Well, it's value, but it like comes back to the value.
Yeah.
I mean, if the value is freedom and the time, then it is ambition.
Yeah.
It's so good to have that clarity on that value-driven ambition. I love it. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, Sandy.
Yeah, but I don't know. So put this one in the time capsule and we'll see
that
where
would
we
be
are in
so
5
good.
years.
Mark it up. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up tonight from Portland. We are sending you love, light, and gold and reminding you to...
Stay vigilant. I like this shirt.